Alright, what's up everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today we're going to be talking about some trade that's potentially happening in the NBA. The draft is over. Free agency is coming up in about a week. And even though the free agency class is not great, we do have a lot of rumors and potential stars on the move that are being talked about. And yeah, we're going to talk all about them. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. Really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Looking at the analytics stuff, a little bit less than 1% of you that actually watch the videos are subscribed. So, if you watch it, hit the subscribe button. It really help out. It mean a lot to me. And yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the first guy we're going to talk about, we're going to get it out of the way quick. Damian Lillard. He's been a big talk of the offseason. It's getting a little tiring, honestly. We know about everything about the direction. Dame, very loyal guy. He wants to stay in Portland. He wants to win a championship in Portland. He wants Portland to go out and make big moves and make a big splash to help him win a championship. But Portland doesn't have that luxury because they don't have a lot of assets. Well, they do, but they don't at the same time. They're not a big market. They don't have a lot of money. And it's just very tough right now to go get a star with the way the market and the NBA is right now. So they're kind of at like a crossroads. They did have the number 3 overall pick in the draft, which Dame really wanted them to trade and get someone. He came out before the draft and said, like, I don't want to be a part of a youth movement. Basically saying, I want a big star. I want to compete, And they could not find a trade for it, and they instead selected Scoot Henderson. And now he will be a part of the Portland Trailblazers for now. Maybe another move comes later. But right now, Scoot Henderson is a Portland Trailblazer. He's going to be on the Blazers. They did not trade the number 3 overall pick before the draft. And now a lot of talk about has shifted from trying to trade that 3 pick for a star next to Damian Lillard to now trading Damian Lillard potentially. I think a lot of people are kind of realizing now that, it might be time for Dame to legitimately actually request a trade. Portland has a lot of young talent. We got a lot of young assets that are really good, and it's just kind of make a decision of, does Portland really want to risk trading away those young assets and want to get rid of everything they culminated just to get a guy for Damian Lillard in a very tough Western Conference that still has the Denver Nuggets as the reigning champions, the Clippers, which we're going to talk about a little bit later as well, still in there. The Warriors are potentially going to get better. The Lakers are still around that range. The Grizzlies, even though they have some other problems, still going to be around that range. It's a very tough Western Conference. The Thunder are coming up. The Timberwolves aren't that bad anymore. There's a lot going on in the Western Conference. The Kings become a good team. The Suns just made a big move. The West is very tough to win in. We all know that. And so for Portland, is it like, do we sacrifice these young guys, potential stars, do all this just to keep Dame happy, to try to win in the West, even though it's very unlikely we're going to win? Or do we just suck it up and we just trade Damian Lillard, even though he's been probably the best player in our franchise history? He's been loyal to us. He doesn't really want to leave us. He's a guy that, the fans love, Portland loves. He's been Portland. Ever since he became a great player, he's been the Portland Trailblazers. You think about the Portland Trailblazers, you think about Damian Lillard, the first thing. But with just the way the team is right now, the way the entire league is, I think right now is just the best time to trade Damian Lillard. Looking at the team you just drafted Scoot Henderson, who I personally believe was the second best player in this draft. And if Victor wasn't in this draft, Scoot would have been the number 1 pick, no doubt, in my opinion. I think Scoot has potential to be an amazing player at the point guard position. You have Anthony Simons, a guy that broke onto the scene a few years ago and looks really, really good. You paid him a big money as well. He's a guy that is really good. Shane Sharp, who you got with the 7th pick in last year's draft, showing some potential that he's potentially going to be a star player in this league one day as well. You made some other good draft picks like Chris Murray. I'm a big fan of that pick down there. And then Ryan Rupert, a project player that you've also got in this year's draft. Like, Portland looks like it has some really good potential youth right now. And then thinking about trading Damian Lillard, you're going to get some more back. You're going to get some picks. You're going to maybe a nice young player as well. And all of a sudden, Portland's future looks really, really bright. But it just doesn't look as bright right now because Damian Lillard is still there. And the direction that Dame and the Blazers want to go is, we want to win. But I think right now it's about time for Portland to just suck it up and be like, hey, you know what? I think the best move for us is we got to trade Dame, which would be very tough for both the franchise and for Dame, but I think it's what it's going to come down to. And now looking at the potential suitors for Dame, obviously the Miami Heat are the top team. They've been saying ever since they lost in the finals that we're looking for a big star, and Dame is the guy they missed. They didn't really go all in on Bradley Beal, even though I think that was a very gettable piece and a very realistic piece more than Dame because they want to hit the home run and go get Damian Lillard. Um, to have a big three of Dame, Jimmy, and Bam. And the assets you're going to get from Miami aren't as great as you potentially could get for other teams. But it's a situation that Dame wants to go in, that they've been very vocal about it. And you can get something decent. I mean, the money will match. Obviously, you probably get Tyler Hero, who's another young guy. You get guys like Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry, who are just contract fillers. And you're going to get a couple first-round picks potentially in this draft, in this trade as well, which is really good. I think the picks are more important right now for Portland than young players because they already have three really good young players in Scoot, Shaden, and Anthony Simons. So the young players, of course, you want them, but they're not the main priority. The picks would be the main priority. And I think with the Heat, you can get some decent amount of picks. You're not going to get an overhaul of picks like you could from other teams, but you get that from Miami. And let's say this trade does go down, you get Tyler Hero, who's another guard you put next to Scoot and Shaden. You can either keep him or potentially maybe you flip Tyler Hero for something else. You have that option. So I think Miami is a good option. A sneaky team, the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets have a good roster right now. They're just missing really a star to carry them. And I think Brooklyn has some decent options there. They have the picks they got from the Kevin Durant trade and the James Harden trade. They have some picks from Phoenix and Houston that kind of overhaul what they gave up from Houston for James Harden. And that's a sneaky team right there. You probably get from Phoenix, some first from Houston, maybe 3 first-round picks. You can get a guy like maybe Cam Johnson, potentially, Spencer Dinwiddie, which you could flip for something else. I think Brooklyn is a very sneaky team. You get maybe a Cam Thomas, potentially as well, just another dude that's going to come up there and get buckets as a guard. I think, Brooklyn is a sneaky one. Brooklyn is a sneaky one. Maybe not yet, but I can see definitely another year. Potentially, if they're good again next year and have some good things, then maybe if a star becomes available, Brooklyn is going to be a team that maybe tries to go get it because they already have kind of the foundations of a good team. They just need their top dog. They don't really have that. Even though Mikal Bridges is really good, I don't know if he could be a number one on a playoff and championship level team, but I think he'll be an amazing number 2. But I think Dame's an interesting one. We're going to see what happens with Dame in the next few days. But another guy that's been, as of recently, as the last few days, put in the trade block, potentially, Paul George. They said that the Clippers, a few weeks ago, I think Mark Stein reported saying that the Clippers are kind of pulling out feelings of Paul George, not putting him on the trade block, but maybe kind of seeing, here and there what his value is around the league. And then yesterday, there was a report by Howard Beck, which for Sports Illustrated and stuff, he said, quote, they're not trying to give him away, but they are trying to pivot. And they do have, I think, a franchise-wide frustration with the way that this era has gone. End quote, he said on a podcast episode. So there's some stuff going on that maybe Paul George might be the next star on the way out. Potentially. With the Clippers, we all know the situation here. Him and Kawhi have not been the healthiest. They've had not some good luck, and this team was supposed to be someone that put the Clippers on the map, but instead, they've made one conference finals appearance since those two have gone there, and Kawhi wasn't even there for the conference finals appearance. It was Paul George that took them to the conference finals. So, Paul George might be the next one out. Looking at teams, the Blazers were a team, with them trying to get some stuff for Damian Lillard. The Blazers were a team that potentially was thrown out there. That would be funny if a full circle moment if Dame and Paul George get back together. Another team was the Knicks. Ian Begley, who works with the Knicks, said that the Knicks were putting out some feelers out there, potentially what they can give up for Paul George, which I think would be a very nice get as well for them. The Knicks definitely have a piece to make a superstar move. I was going to talk about that for Dame, but I feel like it didn't really make sense because you have Jalen Brunson. But I think the Knicks going out and getting Paul George, I think is a really good move for them. I don't know about right now, but I think maybe another year, depending on how this season goes, if they look like they kind of build off of last year and still look good, and they're just one superstar move away. I think Paul George could be a good one. Because yeah, you have some good pieces to trade. You have R.J. Barrett, who has shown things that he could be a really good player. A little bit disappointing, but he's still only 23 years old, so the Clippers take a chance on him. You got guys like Obi Toppin, who shows potential, hasn't really got the opportunity. I mean, quickly, another guy that has been young, shows hasn't had the real opportunity, but shown potential. Was potential six man of the year candidate this season. They have draft picks. They think have like what 4 first round picks next year in 2024. They have a couple later. They've been hauling in draft picks to potentially make a big move. And I think Paul George could be a really nice move for them if Paul George is available. I think the Knicks, now you have Paul George, Jalen Brunson, and Julius Randle as kind of a big three, and then you still have guys like Mitchell Robinson and Quentin Grimes if you can keep them. Quentin Grimes might be asked for by the Clippers because I think he's a really good player as well and has a lot of potential. But I think the Knicks and Paul George would be a good fit. Maybe thinking about other teams, maybe the Kings. I don't know if they have as much pieces as other teams do. The Kings don't have a lot of young pieces that they're willing to trade. I think Sabonis and Fox are off the board, and I think maybe Keegan is off the board. And I think if Keegan's off the board to get traded for Paul George, then I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't know. That's just I heard about that as a team. But yeah, I think Paul George would be a very interesting target in this offseason because there's been a lot of talk fueling the last few days that he potentially might be on the move pretty soon. And the Clippers aren't really happy with what's going on with that era of PG and Kawhi. And it might be time to blow it up and restart it. Well, maybe not fully restart it, but I don't know. I think Paul George will be a really good fit for a team like the Knicks or like the Kings, a team that's only just one little piece away. And I think that's a great trade for either of them to do. And another guy has been Zach Levine. Zach Levine has been talked about the last few days that maybe the Knicks or some teams are gauging the interest of Zach Levine. The Bulls might be pulling out feelers as well for Zach Levine. Remember last year at the trade deadline, I said the Knicks discussed the trade with the Bulls about Zach Levine. The Knicks coming back. There's another team that, another guy that might be interested. I think that'd be an interesting move for the Knicks as well. Zach Levine kind of doing the same thing I said with Paul George, being, the last piece away from them being contenders. I think Paul George might be a better player for that right now, but I think Zach Levine's still really. I think we kind of still underrate Zach Levine a little bit because Zach Levine is really good. And I think him on the Knicks would be interesting. That trade would probably still be R.J. Barrett, which I think would be a nice get for the Bulls. And then probably a couple picks as well, maybe Obi Toppin. They can get, this opportunity too if the Bulls are actually going to blow it up and trade away Zach Levine. Thinking about some other teams that potentially get Zach Levine. I don't know. I think it's an interesting case for Zach because I still feel like a lot of the league still doesn't really fully understand how really good Zach Levine is. So I think there could be potentially be a world where Zach Levine gets a little bit underballed in a way of like the Bulls don't get anything insane back for Zach Levine. They get something decent but nothing crazy, and then Zach Levine goes to another team and he can really ball out. That what that team is still uncertain. I mean, the Knicks, of course, were a team talked about. Maybe Portland. Of course, I think those two teams are going to be in it for the entire time. The Kings again. Potentially, that could be a team. I think I would like him a lot with the Kings, and you're probably not going to have to give up as much as you did for Paul George to the Clippers. I think the Kings is a very interesting move. Kings is very interesting for Zach Levine. I don't know. I think that, yeah, I like it. When I think about it, I like it. Sorry, those are the only two teams I can think of right now. Those are the only teams that I think will make a trade like this that are like one guy away or have the actual pieces. I talked about Brooklyn for Dame. I think their wing position, all that stuff is good. I think Dame would be a great guy for the Brooklyn Nets. A guard. And maybe Zach Levine for Brooklyn. I'm not 100% sure. But I think those Dame, PG, and Zach Levine potentially might be the next three guys, next three star level players on the move. Those three have been talked about a lot recently. Maybe there might be some more guys in another few weeks that potentially could be on the move as well. But I think these three are very interesting pieces. They're all really established guys that I think if a certain team gets them, they push that team up a notch. And like that team could be a guaranteed playoff or a contender even, depending on the team. So I think it's very interesting to see. And I think it's going to be a lot of trading in this free agency because, again, this free agency class is not that good. You know, after Kyrie and Harden, it's like there's not really any stars on this market. So I think a lot of star acquisitions, if the teams wanted them, they're going to have to give up something and trade for them. But I'm very excited for this free agency and this trade market. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn on notifications, all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, I've said a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.